I am Kavita Bahal.
And I am Kizelle Jackson.
And welcome to the Live Wire. So Kizelle, what's happening in the Caribbean of lately?
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo made an announcement after the signing of the bilateral agreement in Guyana, stating that the U.S. government will spend $5 million in Guyana to help with migrants, or Venezuelan migrants that is, who fled from the Maduro regime. And great news in Barbados. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the announcement that Barbados is on the way to full sovereignty, meaning that Barbados will finally become a republic and put colonialism behind. So I know it's Republic Day in Trinidad and Tobago as well last Thursday. And Republic Day is a very monumental day for the country as well as for its president, because the president gets its power from the Republican Constitution. Kavita, tell us more about what's happening in Trinidad. I know it's Budget 2021.
As you know, on August 1st, 1962, Trinidad and Tobago achieved independence. However, Republic Day is celebrated on the 24th of September to commemorate our first parliament.
But it's interesting information that we should give to John and Jane public, because Republic Day was actually the 1st of August, 1976,
Yes.
and not the 24th, but it was commemorated because of the first session of Parliament. Yes, Kavita. So Kavita, I know it's Budget Day coming. We are just some days away from the 2021 budget. And I don't envy the position at all of the government. It is a difficult one. But what are some of your suggestions?
COVID-19 has really dampened a lot in our economy. And basically it has overstayed its visit.
It's welcome, rather.
Because so many of us now are suffering, businesses are suffering. There's a major decline in our economy. And now our Minister of Finance is faced now, I think, with the struggle of presenting a budget in times of COVID. So I myself am very excited to see what Mr. Imbert will be presenting for our budget as well as our citizens at this point in time.
I know COVID has made a bad situation worse, because it's not a good position to be in right now. But what are some suggestions? There are various sectors, and it's time for us, maybe we can use this bad to strengthen and secure our domestic trading, our domestic sectors. It is time for us to have a stronger intercourse between these varying local sectors in the local economy. And Kavita, maybe out of this we can strengthen our domestic supplies. So that is, we are talking about food, we are talking about energy, shelter, clothing. These are some of the domestic economies that we need to have a stronger intercourse with within the varying sectors.
Last week on the Live Wire, we spoke about agriculture and the agricultural sector. And what I would like to see really with this budget is that more land is allocated for agriculture, more local crops are being produced. As it is right now, thanks to COVID and its forced entry into the Caribbean islands and into Trinidad and Tobago, I believe that in order to sustain our economy, I would love to see that our minister takes into consideration local agriculture. I would really like to appeal to our Minister of Finance to really think about, placing in more facilities and so on for our agricultural sector to be more dominant and prominent in Trinidad and Tobago, because food should never be out of supply.
And this here food security is a must.
Yes.
Because maybe it is time for us to eat what we produce and produce what we eat,
Yes.
more of what we eat.
Correct.
And really use this agricultural sector as a way going forward. Because it is the way for us to come out of this successfully, because we import too much. As we saw last week, our food import bill is way too high. So we are an agricultural country. The Caribbean is known for agriculture. This is what started us initially. So it is time now for us to go back. As I said last week, let's run to the land. There are some assumptions within the country that the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago will devalue our dollar. And there's so much going on in this economy in an adverse way, Kavita. But we have to find a way. This is what we do. We are resilient.
Yes.
And this 2021 budget should allow us to strengthen our domestic arm. And this maybe is the arm that was being neglected for far too long. it is time for us to look inside rather than outside for economic solutions in all the varying sector. And Kavita, I would like to see a lot more done for the cultural sector, a lot more done for the arts, because I'm thinking about all those entertainers, all those promoters, all those calypsonians and soca artists right now, not even knowing when next they will make a dollar. But we can come up with some innovative ways of earning and earning potential for these artists. We cannot have parties anymore in terms of group and mass gathering. But does that mean that we stop partying? Does that mean that we stop entertainment? No. It just means that we have to find new ways of doing things. How about we have a party truck that goes into various areas and we have the artists performing on the truck. And then people from behind their gate could get a sense of relief, a sense of entertainment, neighbors coming out, not outside of their gate, but they're all inside their yard and neighbor could see a next neighbor from across. And I'm sure that will amount to more than the social spacing in terms of distancing. And we could get some entertainment. Call back out Marshall Montano.
Another aspect that I think I would like to really see improve is our education sector.
Oh, yes.
Many children right now and families are at a great strain in terms of having devices. And many parents are taking loans to buy laptops. The ban has not been lifted as yet and taxes are still being placed on these devices. Is it that people are making money out of the poor? Is there anyone thinking about parents?
I think they're just using this as a taking advantage of a disadvantaged group, because it is really disgusting, Kavita. Like, I remember some days ago, a lot of people sending me messages on the Instagram because we're doing a 1 laptop per month donation. And then to hear these suppliers have jacked up prices to almost sometimes 5 times the amount of its initial price. And this is really some heartless acts.
And people too are faced now with, difficulty, strain, stress, not knowing where your meal will come from. And then at the same time, you want to make sure that your child is educated. So I would like to ask the Minister of Finance that within the budget, please have monies allocated to families who are in need or children on the whole by placing laptops as being part of our schools program. Again, the citizens need you. Families need help. And children, our education is our only passport for freedom. And I would like to say strongly or ask you to please implement this in the budget to assist families that are in need.
Well, there was a humanitarian act, I would say, by one country, whereby which they cut the local expenditure in terms of the government officials. The MPs were working for 20% less. So maybe the ministers can work for 20% less or 25% less and give back some of these funds to the country, because we are in need. I mean, we all have to tighten our belts together.
Yes.
And it'll be a great act, a great humanitarian act for us to see that the government is there with us, with the people right now, because the people right now, we need the government. Yes?
Kizal, do you believe that, although we know that right now we are in a lockdown period to some extent, do you believe that our country and our borders should be opened again to allow cash flow and interaction to occur? Because by having this lockdown, we are stifling our country's economy. We are stifling the people. What are your views on that?
Kavita, to be honest, I don't have clear-cut views, because I am still sitting on the fence with looking at what's happening internationally and what's happening locally. What I will suggest locally, however, we need to open businesses.
We need to.
Total opening of businesses.
Yes.
And we can't have some open and some not open, because what about these gym owners? I am thinking about them now. And
other
yes,
small businesses as well. They are suffering. And they too have families. They have rents to pay. Because some landlords are not lifting that ban, They are still charging people rent. How are they to pay? How are they to survive?
Kavita, what I would have done differently, to be honest, is that if it is just like 0.01% of the population will die from COVID, and these are persons that have some susceptibility in terms of lung disease or other ailments that are more susceptible to die. More people are dying from the common flu, as we know. I would have made arrangement for people who feel that they are vulnerable, or these groups that feel that they're more inclined towards having an adverse effect on COVID-19, and make arrangement for these groups so that I will be targeting the group that needs to be targeted,
But we'll have our audience there looking at us right now and somebody, what are these two right talking about? Madness. So they want to kill us out? We are not saying that. We are saying simply that the common virus kills more people. That's a fact. But in order for us to sustain our dying economy, our borders, our businesses, schools need to be reopened. Internationally, come January, all schools will be opened. We are not sure yet what will happen in Trinidad and Tobago, seeing that there's a drastic increase of COVID. But there are some ways prevention is better than cure. If it is that everyone plays their part, we have some sort of loophole in terms of maneuvering exactly what we are going through at this point in time.
And I will say about the education sector in particular that these draconian measures in terms of the past and the way that we would have done things as educators, it is time for us to wake up. It is time for us to realize that this is a different world. We are in a digital world. We are experiencing digital transformation. And let us openly embrace this transformation. That yes, schools will reopen, but how? Now, maybe the school system could take a different approach. Just maybe the school system can, because I always had a problem with these heavy book bags that is causing problems in terms of spinal problems with these children, carrying a load, and these young ones. Sometimes you see these the bag is bigger than these children, and I say, why? Is this really necessary? Right? So we can reduce on the books, reduce on how many, in terms of the paper books that is in their bags. And if and where applicable, you hear what I'm saying? If and where applicable, students use electronic devices so that it would lighten that load, one, and using the COVID-19 as in a positive way. Use the model, because this model would have taught us some things. This model would have taught us that there are other ways of doing things.
Well, sir, I agree with you, Kizal. On my part, a classroom effect cannot be replaced. Online teaching, there are many, many challenges. Many challenges. Students are now claiming that they have a right whether to turn their cameras on or not. People are coming, men, boys are coming into teachers' classroom, pornography, cursing, teachers are being insulted. And I have a problem with that. Teachers are placed into the public light now. Their home is no longer their safe haven. The concept of education has changed drastically. And what is next? I agree that maybe we should have a roster system, even if school opens, but at the same time, students need to be protected. Teachers need to be protected. And our homes need to be protected because we have invaders coming in. And this here is the disadvantage of online teaching. Really and truly, nothing can replace the smiles that classroom brings you, the comfort of your students, that interaction. It can never be replaced by technology. It's as though we are robots and we are just working. But there is something more to work, fun. Where is that now?
Well, you can create that fun online. Who is to say that you cannot create that fun online? But I do understand, and I do agree with you to a certain extent, Kavita, that nothing can replace that physical interaction. Nothing, there's no level of communication that can replace physical communication. However, at a time when that has been compromised, then something else was needed. And we are all young in this virus in terms of how we deal with it. So there will be changes that will continue to evolve. And I'm sure that the Minister of Education, hopefully she's watching this program and will be evolving with it in terms of implementing both digital and traditional. And it can work together. To say that one is infringing or occupying personal space, well, I don't really understand why you would say, but you could explain a little more.
While we are evolving, whilst I agree with you, there has to be implementations in place to protect teachers and students. Your home is no longer private. Pornography is being shared. Teachers are being cursed. at.
But some of these issues were issues even in the traditional classroom.
Yes,
in the
but-
traditional classroom, we had classroom management problems. We had pornography in schools. We had some of these issues. So we cannot outrightly blame this new system and say, because of this new system, we are experiencing these things.
I agree with you there, Kizal, but some implementation needs to be in place because women are supposed to be a strength, a voice. And when you uplift another woman or a girl, it's a sort of empowerment. Why is it that young girls today see it as a sort of strength or a sort of, I don't know how to put it, Kizal, but bringing down another girl?
How I will put it is, what the monkey see, the monkey
Yeah, but what strength is that giving you?
What the monkey sees, that monkey will do. And I'm not saying that you all are monkeys. Please don't take that out of my conversation. What I'm saying is that these younger children mimic the behaviors of the older ones.
Yeah.
So if we as adults, if we are displaying this type of behavior, if we as women are tearing down each other rather than building each other up, then these younger ones will do what? We expect them to do something differently?
No.
So then it starts with us. It starts with us in our social environment. It starts with us in our political environment. Because over that last election there, I saw women being degraded to the worst. We saw it. We know what was happening.
I know a good point, because within the political arena, we have women on either side. But at the end of the day, a woman's voice is profound. And each woman needs to protect another woman. Why is it that you want to bring down someone else? People would laugh at you. It doesn't matter if you're in one party or another party. But at the end of the day, unity and protecting each other is what women need to do. Upliftment. And I think that we need to see more of women uplifting each other.
And you know something, you don't see much male degradation in terms of they trying to degrade each other's character. You don't see a lot of male pornography being out there, but the focus is on one gender.
It's almost
and that
as
is
though-
the female gender.
It's almost as though within our political arena, it was always like a Boy Scout academy. But now we are seeing women coming out more. Women want to make their name known, their space known through their voice. And again, with upliftment, that's the only way it's possible.
And we're happy now in 2020, Kavita, we have seen that our head of state is a woman.
Yes.
So a lot has happened, and we ought to remember that we would experience growing pains because we are a pretty young society. At the end of last year, the gross public sector debt was 122 billion. So this budget in 2021, prudent fiscal management is needed for this new budget. We have to look at ways to reduce our spending.
We look at, actually, when we look at taxes, to reduce taxes, we have to be able, if governments can look into debt in terms of bond and, in terms of making money, in that way, they can relieve people
Because
of taxes.
Correct. Because now is not a good time. Absolutely not a good time to raise taxes or even to keep taxes.
Even food items.
Yes,
So that needs to be lifted.
that's a heavy one. Government
Yes.
need to lift taxes off of, probably you could do the removal of VAT altogether.
Yes, VAT altogether.
And decrease taxation for businesses to encourage more domestic businesses to continue.
Yeah.
Because this budget may actually mean survival or death for certain
Because
businesses.
cash flow within our country is necessary. So in terms of, looking into, of course, bonds, right, and reducing taxes or actually lifting taxes off, I think that's
Altogether.
something
But
that
then,
our Minister of Finance
but let's put
should look
ourselves
into.
in their position now. How are they going to make money? The government needs money. Now I think it's some creativity.
Yes.
The finance minister, I'm telling you, it's time to be creative. Look for innovative ways in which you can earn money for us to survive, right? How about the priority bus route? If we put probably a charge, because lots of persons want to use the priority bus route because it's faster, it saves on time, but they cannot. And you pass, there's a toll price, there's a toll price that you pay to use the priority bus route. A lot of business persons day in, day out, would pay, and government will get some money, but they have the option of using or not using. In Jamaica, certain parts of Jamaica, to enter, you would see that you pay a small fine, and you pay that fine, but then I know you're saying every action there is an equal or double reaction.
And a consequence.
Yes, so are we saying that taxi fares will raise? Not necessarily. Because we can have exemptions for taxis. We can have exemptions so that they would not have to pay the charges that a private entity would pay, because this is their livelihood.
Correct.
Because if we increase their charges, then by and large we'll increase the charges of the persons using that service.
Correct.
And this is what we are trying not to do. Kavita, how else can the government find creative strategies to make money, to fuel an economy in a crisis like this?
I mean, I have two other ways, you know. Number one, as we mentioned earlier, agriculture, by having our local crops and our imports being given a sense of establishment. And secondly, open the country. Because at the end of the day, COVID will be with us for a very long time. We can't have a country in lockdown continuously. At the end of the day, you know, there are many persons at home and they're getting frustrated. They can't go anywhere. Sure, you know, you could probably go for a bacon shack at Maracas, let's just say. Then what's new? You know, people are trapped in their homes. They need some sort of leisure, some sort of activity. And I would suggest strongly, open the country, continue on with our jobs, our pleasure, leisure, right? Get people to more go to fauna and flora attractions, all these things.
Another way, remember a long time we used to have the drive-through cinemas.
Yes.
And that was a big thing. I remember as a child going to drive-through cinema and seeing this big screen. It was excitement for families.
Yeah.
Now we can bring in some of those, have entrepreneurs do something creative. It don't have to be as large as those screens, but we have parks, we have stadiums that are underutilized. Maybe we can utilize these stadiums now or some of these parks and have a drive-in, a drive-through, right? A drive-through cinema experience, a drive-through performance. You drive in, let's say Skinner Park, and you in your car, and you get to see some performance. You know, I only go back to performance because I'm really focusing on these artists and our female artists, like the Patrice Roberts, the Nadia Batson, the Nisha B, the who else I forgetting? Tell
There
me.
are so many names, but you know, our culture is part of our music, our food. At this point in time, we really need that sort of transparency, that sort of enlightenment. Because at the end of the day, having our country at a close, I'm not saying open the borders so foreigners can come in for carnival. I'm saying domestic wise. Open our country, cash flow will be coming in, it will start to flow, and people will feel a sense of accomplishment. They won't be home frustrated or checking bills or light bill is so much, water rate is so much, what are we going to do? Kids' bills are so much, groceries so much. People are feeling overwhelmed. And with the budget coming close, a lot of people are in this aspect of their life where they are worried. They are not sure what is next. Why are we imprisoning people with fear? Why are we controlling emotions due to our budget?
But do you know there's one study that says that if we are less stressed, then we'll be less susceptible to get different ailments and
Correct.
viruses. Now, we need to free up this bondage a little bit. We need some release, responsible release that is, and allow the beaches to open.
Yes.
Because we have some large expanse beaches, like Tobago. Tobago
Because
is
I'm talking
known.
thing about beach here, but you know we're going to get a backlash. They'll say these two women on the live wire. What it is they really doing talking about beach opening? They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about.
Let us look at other models, other
Yeah.
countries. We are not in this in isolation, you know.
No, we are not
We are all
alone.
in this together.
Yes,
other
correct.
countries, their beaches are has now reopened.
But I'm saying again, they'll say these two women here talking a set of nonsense. Don't listen to the live wire women at all, you know.
Okay, let's listen to statistics then. Prior
See,
to
you
the
touch
beach.
my hand there,
Yeah,
you say it's
touching
COVID
you.
already.
No.
That's
no,
COVID
no.
already.
But can I keep my distance? Go around with your chair,
Yeah,
right?
social distancing
Social
is,
distancing. I can
yes,
keep yours.
please,
I mean, it's
please.
hard for us with social distancing, because we are naturally a people that we interact. We talk
Yes.
with our hands.
I think that's what keeps us going.
You see you touching me there.
I can't help it.
All right,
Stop
go
it now.
ahead.
Stop it. Okay, but you know, this is what keeps us going, the laughter, the friendship. That's a sort of bond, and I think this is what a lot of people are missing right now. And I'm saying again, with this budget in the air, There are tense faces.
There's tension,
You go to the
there's
gas
tension.
station, people watching your hand. You're going to the grocery, pick up a tin of peas and carrots, they're watching your hand. I feel like, it's everywhere. Where is the warmth that we experience with our beloved country?
And this is what identifies us. I mean, Trinis, everywhere around the world, people know that Trinis, we are loving people.
Yes.
We are embracing people. The only time we are divided, is election time. Come Carnival, and you look at Trini, you know about anything with African, Indian, Syrian, Chinese, we are all one. So let us not use divisive tool of a vocalized minority, but rather let us focus on the essence that brings us together.
Yes.
Open the beach,
Again,
I can do it. I can
together
do
we
it in a bath.
aspire, together we achieve.
Or together we aspire, together we are thieves.
No, man, because what is this saying?
Well, I thought it was sad.
One blood, one people, one love, one nation. And this is what we need to remember. And Republic Day celebrations, how we used to have it. I'm not talking about this year, but before. The celebration of it all. We celebrate ourselves, our identity, our patriotism, the love for our country. Red represents our fiery personality, the warmth. Ebony. Look at our colors.
And then we talk about the
flag.
black. I talk about the black represent our resilience.
Yes.
And you know what's the stupid thing? The black East Indian and the black African, we are all considered as black people. So the black represents our resilience. We have a commonality of experience. Let us use this commonality. Let us now join together, because probably we are too divisive right now to think about progressive ways. And if we look at our social responsibility individually, then together we can come up with creative ways of doing things differently.
But our government works for our people. Our government doesn't work for our government.
Our government works for us.
It works for our people. And you have to listen to the voice of the people and what do the people want. And a lot of people right now are crying out, taxes are heavy. All these implementations that are in place, is it for our people or is it to fatten the pockets?
Of whom?
That's the question.
Now, coach, talk, you have court closed. Of whom?
We'll be taking the court soon, What I'm
whom?
saying is that, we really have to look at our people, look at their faces, look at the stress lines, look at the anger that is being. Some people are angry when you go out there. Your people who are in Trinity, you get cussed up. You watch them too hard, you get cussed up. There is no love, no unity anymore.
But I just come on the live wire here and just cuss.
You can
all
vent.
out.
Yeah, you
Just
can vent on the live wire. That's
and you
fine.
cuss up somebody on this live wire here, right? But I understand what you're saying there, Kavita. Good point. We need probably to relax some of these very strict measures, because we have no evidence. Clearly, we have no evidence that some of these measures are in fact working.
Yes.
We cannot say that they are working. I know that you all are under tremendous pressure, but we are not here to increase the pressure, We are here to tell you that, what? Pressure don't burst pipe, Pressure turns stone into diamonds.
And on top of it all, maybe our government officials and our ministers should go to Facebook. Not because they have a page, but ideas from our people, the earth, the ground, and looking at it and looking into their perspective.
But we are talking about
It
the
will make a
grassroots.
difference,
And
yes.
I'm saying to persons that the more power you are given is the more responsibility that you have.
Yes.
So sometimes when a person do not agree with you, don't take it to necessarily mean that they are against you.
Criticism helps build your character.
Exactly so. And sometimes positive criticism is really needed, because you don't want yes people all the time.
Touching my again.
Oh God,
What kind
I
of thing
wouldn't
is this?
stop. You don't have COVID and I don't have COVID, as far as we know from today, right? But positive criticism,
Because wear your mask.
it is essential. Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. What
Wear your
kind of thing is
mask.
this?
Huh?
Wait, what kind of
But
thing
I
is
thought
this?
you were wearing your mask already. That face is a
You
mask in
see?
itself.
So we are wearing our mask, right? We're just joking.
Just which mask?
Yeah, again,
But-
we have fun in our sets because this is what makes us who we are. And I hope that we can bring a smile to your faces while you sit at home. But there is never a dampening moment.
Yeah.
There is always that silver lining behind that dark cloud.
And it's time for us now to look to see what is that silver lining. But Kavita, believe me, there are many goods that has come out of COVID-19. It is a way for us to see through a different lens. It is a way for us to look for opportunities to do things differently. It is a way for us to reevaluate these old traditions and these dinosaur models.
It's a forced change and development.
No, it is a forced advancement, and advancement for whom? We need to focus on local and domestic, our domestic economy.
Correct, yes.
And if we can come together and tightly knit, you ever see them old people when they're knitting? Let us knit this thread that ties in the fabric of our society together. Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the Caribbean, we can do this
Thank
together.
you for being a part of the Live Wire.